What's going on, Packers fans? Aaron Egler here with Cheesehead TV. So the NFL league meetings are happening down in Florida, and the Cheesehead TV budget not quite yet able to send me down there. So I'm monitoring things from afar up here in New York City, seeing quotes from Matt LaFleur this evening, probably see some quotes from Mark Murphy before all is said and done. And that did get me thinking, it's interesting. Mark Murphy is down there, and he's there with LaFleur and probably Gutekunst, and two guys that he hired that have the program in pretty damn good shape. And Mark Murphy probably isn't there without Bob Harlan. Now, I know many of you probably understand how important Bob is, but maybe there's some younger folks out there, some younger Packers fans who don't truly recognize how fortunate they are and how much they should be giving thanks to Bob Harlan for basically everything when it comes to being a Green Bay Packers fan in this day and age. I mean, Harlan himself worked his way up through the ranks, so to speak, there on the business side of the Packers and became president and CEO, and famously hired Ron Wolf and gave him complete control of the franchise on the football side, and did so after Ron turned him down the first time. Don't ever forget, he kept after it, his dogged pursuit of Ron Wolf and telling him, look, I'm going to give you complete control of football operations. You won't be interfered with. The board, the executive committee, no one's going to be looking over your shoulder and second guessing everything. That's what allowed Ron Wolf to go ahead and trade for this guy. Brett Favre, 3-time MVP, Super Bowl winning quarterback. You may have heard of him. Again, doesn't happen without Bob Harlan. And after that, you remember the whole Mike Sherman thing and him becoming GM on top of being a head coach. You know who realized that was too much for one man? That's right. It was Bob Harlan, who decided he needed to split that back up and go get a general manager. And he went and got Ted Thompson. Now, yes, he consulted with Ron Wolf, who gave Ted a sterling recommendation. But he went after Ted and only Ted. He legit did not have a backup plan. He was like, I am going to get Ted Thompson, come hell or high water. And I think that turned out okay, especially considering Ted's first ever draft pick was Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback that the franchise now is completely beholden to and revolves around. That's Ted Thompson's pick. Ted, who doesn't have that job without Bob Harlan. And speaking of Bob and recognizing things, don't ever forget the John Jones almost presidency. What's that, you ask? I know there's probably lots of younger Packers fans who have no idea who I'm talking about. Jones was a Packers fan, a guy who back in the 70s was an editor of Packer Report. He also worked his way up, much like Harlan did, and made it so far as to be COO of the Green Bay Packers. And then around 2005, 2006, Bob started hearing things about Jones's management style. And at first it didn't, pay a whole lot of attention to it, but it kind of stuck with him and grew in time. And then 2006, Jones has an emergency heart surgery. And I think the Packers kind of used that as cover to eventually move on. But don't ever get it twisted. Bob is the one who decided, yep, I think I've made a mistake in naming this guy my successor. And when the executive committee and the board asked him to stay around for another year, when he'd already reached the mandatory retirement age of 70, Bob was the one who stuck around and said, nope, we got to get this right. And that search led to the hiring of Mark Murphy, who went on to, hire Brian Gutekunst and hire Matt LaFleur, the winningest head coach in his first 3 years in NFL history, all because Bob Harlan recognized that I think I've made a mistake here. He's man enough to admit it, and eventually decided, no, I cannot give control to Jones. I've got to stick around and make sure we get this decision correct. The Packers, as you know them right now, so many wins, all of these, obviously the two championships that adorn my shirt here, 96, 2010. Look at the year before. 1967 was the last time they'd won a championship. These other two, 96, 2010, those don't exist without Bob Harlan. This was a team that was ready to be kind of relegated almost. If it was a Premier League, it would have been dropped down to the college ranks. They were ready to liquidate the Green Bay Packers. Don't think that's hyperbole, because it's not. You can read Cliff Crystal on Packers.com. There was definitely rumblings about either completely shutting down the Packers and or maybe moving them to Milwaukee or another major metropolitan area. Harlan made sure none of that happened. Whether it's, building the Hudson Center at the time when it was created, a state-of-the-art facility, an indoor place where the team could practice, or spearheading the remodeling of Lambeau Field in 2003, the man literally got on the phone and called taxpayers directly to stump for this idea. Answered his own phone when there was way more opposition than you would expect, especially today. All of it exists because of Bob Harlan. Go and Google Lambeau Field 1985. Go to the image section. That corrugated iron, the very simple facade, and then compare it to the Taj Mahal that is Lambeau Field today. That only exists because of Bob Harlan. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, all their success, all the games they've won. Compare it to, say, the Cleveland Browns, who came back into existence in '99 and have been horrible. They are the Packers of the 70s and 80s. The Packers are not in that conversation anymore because of Bob Harlan. So as you see things transpiring down in Florida this week with the league meetings and Mark Murphy representing the green and gold, and again, I think Mark's doing a great job. I mean, you consider his stewardship of the green and gold, his hiring of Gutekunst, his hiring of LaFleur, Titletown, the expansion of Titletown, the way that money is only earmarked for the Green Bay Packers, overseeing this latest stock sale. I think Mark's doing a very good job. But Mark's not in that job without Bob Harlan. So if you are able, when you say go to Lambeau Field for a game or go to training camp or you're visiting the Packers Hall of Fame or whatever brings you to the Lambeau area, make sure you visit Harlan Plaza, where those 13 trees are planted, one each for every championship the Packers have won. Make sure you give thanks to Bob Harlan for everything that is the green and gold today, because none of it exists without Mr. Harlan. That's all I got to say about that. Please do me a huge favor. Hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and then tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV, we are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide.